Hello, today we are going to discuss cell parts, all the different parts of the cell. So, we call these different parts of the cell organelles. So an organelle is a specialized cellular part such as mitochondria or plasma nucleus that has a specific function that's considered analogous to an organ. So I've touched on these slightly before, but organelle is just like a tiny organ. So just like the human body has organs like the stomach, the heart, lungs, the cells have organs that are very, very small, all those organs. There's two main kinds of cells. They are called prokaryotes or prokaryotic cells and eukaryotes or eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotes are the cells that have all of these organelles that we will be discussing today, and they're the most advanced kind of cell that exists. So all of our human cells are eukaryotes. Just about all plant and animal life is eukaryotes. And then prokaryotes are mainly certain kinds of bacteria and cyanobacteria. And they, as we can see in the prokaryote definition, it does not have a distinct nucleus with a membrane or other specialized organelles, whereas the eukaryote does. So the first organelle we're going to talk about is the cell membrane. We've also talked about this before. And the cytoplasm. So the cell membrane looks like this. It's made of lipids, which we'll discuss in a future video. And the cell membrane holds the entire cell together. So the cytoplasm, which is just basically the jelly inside of a cell, and all of the organelles, that is all contained by the cell membrane. Nucleus, also talked about this before. So it is at the very center of cells. It's essentially another layer of membrane, and it surrounds and protects DNA. DNA, a self-replicating material that is present in nearly all living organisms as the main constituent of chromosomes. It is the carrier of genetic information. And it looks like that. Vacuole. Alright, so a vacuole is a space within the cytoplasm of a cell enclosed by a membrane, typically containing a fluid, a small cavity or space in tissue, especially in nervous tissue as a result of disease. Okay, so vacuoles primarily are used for just storage of things. They can contain nutrients, waste, and water. In plant cells, they have one large vacuole, as opposed to animal cells with a bunch of smaller ones. The reason being is that plants can make their own food at any time. So they have a lot more things that they'll need to store, a lot more nutrients and water to store, as opposed to animal cells, which can only do cellular respiration, not both photosynthesis and cell respiration, like plant cells. Next, mitochondria and cellular respiration we've discussed. So this is a cross-section of the mitochondria. It is the thing that breaks down food into energy through the process of cellular respiration. So again, mitochondria is where cellular respiration happens. In plant cells, you're going to have chloroplasts. And chloroplasts, that's where photosynthesis happens, which is again taking sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, converting it into food or glucose and oxygen. Golgi apparatus. So it's a complex of vesicles and folded membranes within the cytoplasm of most eukaryotic cells involved in secretion and intracellular transport. Okay, so basically the Golgi apparatus, if you can look in this GIF, it makes these tiny little balls of cell membrane around larger molecules that are important. Could be proteins, could be certain nutrients of things, whatever it is. It surrounds larger molecules in basically these little balls of cell membrane. And then the Golgi apparatus sends these balls of cell membrane or vesicles to wherever they need to go in the cell, and then whenever they reach their destination, the vesicle breaks open and the molecule comes out. And so basically, again, the Golgi apparatus creates vesicles, which is those little balls of membrane surrounding the molecule. Lysosome. So these look a lot like vacuoles, but they do something completely different. So these are in charge of breaking down waste. So lysosomes, organelle in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells containing degradative enzymes enclosed in a membrane. So as we can see in the GIF above, that orange dot represents waste. Lysosome absorbs it, and then the enzymes inside go to work breaking that down and removing the waste. Next, ribosome. Very, very important. So ribosomes are essentially just a little tiny blob of protein. And their job is to make proteins. So as we can see in the definition, a minute particle consisting of RNA and associated proteins found in large numbers in the cytoplasm of living cells. They bind to messenger RNA and transfer RNA to synthesize polypeptides and proteins. That we're going to talk about in a future video as well. All right, this brings us to rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Essentially, both of these help out ribosomes in making proteins or making different conformations of proteins. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes attached to it, while the smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have any ribosomes attached to it. So you can see that in the two images on the left side. Also, the rough endoplasmic reticulum closely surrounds the nucleus, while the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is kind of attached or surrounds the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Looking on the right side, now that pictures some more differences. So the smooth ER synthesizes and stores proteins, while the rough ER synthesizes and stores lipids and also stores proteins. Smooth ER mainly present in lipid-forming cells, and then the rough ER mainly present in protein-forming cells. So they have very similar functions, but with some distinct differences between the two. And here we have a list of all organelles that you can find in cells. Depends on, from cell to cell, of course, whether it's a plant cell or an animal cell. But again, cell membrane, cell wall, that would be in plant cells, chloroplasts in plant cells, mitochondria, ribosome, rough ER, smooth ER, lysosome, vacuole, DNA, and RNA. We'll talk more about RNA in a future lesson. Nucleus, Golgi apparatus, Golgi apparatuses, again, make vesicles. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe, and remember to spread kindness.